Your leaders are supposed to protect your vote. They're supposed to protect your voice. This is something I wanted to address, and I do have a question for you. You can comment below if you're here on YouTube, because again, the algorithm tells everyone that we're dead, because that's what they do. They suspend you for 2 weeks. Have you heard this argument, this trope that Republicans are always gerrymandering to win elections, and of course Democrats don't gerrymander, and that's why redistrict, we'll use these terms of course interchangeably, and that's why our elections are actually not free and fair. Have you heard this? And if you haven't, well, first off, have you heard it? If you have, do you believe it? If you don't believe it, why? Have you been able to argue against it? How do you argue against it? And hopefully I will help you to be able to argue against it, because it is irrefutable. All the references are available at louderscrowder.com. In case you haven't heard this from the left, here's a clip.
They have rigged the maps in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It is the most gerrymandered state in the country.
Yeah, it is. And in states where the gerrymandering process has been undone so that it does not advantage either party, that is what happened in Michigan. And what happened? Democrats ran the table with ungerrymandered maps. It turns out that people in Michigan wanted Democrats to be in charge. And when asked to do so in a fair process, a transparent, nonpartisan process, that was the result. That is what Republicans are so afraid of when it comes to giving up on gerrymandering.
I don't think a democracy can long thrive or maybe even survive if over a sustained period of time it is governed by a minority of its citizens. And through the gerrymander, the House is often controlled by a minority of Americans.
Okay, so in order for you to not have to do so, I have actually been signed up for Adam Schiff's mailing list.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my goodness.
Is that what started this?
That's what started this. So as far as the overlay, it's kind of tough because it was an email as opposed to a link on a website. So he's been sending out emails.
Tasteful nudes?
Yes. He's been sending them out. Just this is a lesson for you with the cloud. He's been sending out these emails asking people to sign a petition now to end the filibuster. Why? So that Democrats can pass voting legislation. And of course, the main crux of his argument is that Republicans effectively stole the election through quote unquote illegal gerrymandering. And if anyone else out there has signed up for Adam Schiff's mailing list, let me know if you had received this. I just can't tell you how much crap goes to it. I have a separate email set up so I can it's what I call my crap inbox. So I just go check it every day. I sign up for every single leftist newsletter. It used to be the Fight for 15. You have Adam Schiff, you have Pelosi.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Well, just so I know what it is that they're saying. And it's why I'm so exhausted. I feel like Scrooge, who saw hell on earth when Marley showed back up. A lot of Dickens references today because I've been reading it. So Democrats suggest the solution is independent councils, right, be formed to draw these districts. Okay, so this again, what's the replacement? Who appoints the council? Well, we'll get into what happened in New York and how it was worse than any other example that you can find, I would argue, across the country in relation to redistricting. So this brings us to some of the claims versus the truths that are made in this email, Adam Schiff. So here's the first claim that's consistently made. That Republicans gerrymandered their way to a House majority and that Democrats overperformed to keep it close. Here's a quote from Adam Schiff. He wrote, this is in the email, GOP legislatures spent the last 2 years since the 2020 census eliminating Democratic districts with illegal maps and defying court orders to redraw them leading up to the 2022 election. Their gerrymanders were their only saving grace from a historic Republican flop on November 8th. Okay, couple of things. Again, remember, I think it's by 5 million or so, the popular vote.
Yeah.
Is that what
Republicans won by
over
5 million.
Over 5 million.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the final count was. I know it's over 5 million. So keep that in mind, because this is important to note. When they talk about Hillary Clinton winning the popular vote, for example, against Donald Trump, well, we have the Electoral College for a very specific reason, so that it's not, of course, our elections, national elections, aren't affected disproportionately by New York and Los Angeles, right? That's why we have the Electoral College, so that the small counties, the smaller states, that their vote still matters and they're not drowned out. However, when you're talking about midterms, right, which largely we're talking about the House elections, of course, this should be closer to being in line with the popular vote, which was for a midterm still really significant. Why? Because it's not a national election. People should at the very least have their local representative in their district be most representative of their locale. I know, I'm being rigid.
But so by 5 million is only enough to get you one additional House seat than you need,
right?
And not enough Senate seats.
3.5 million.
3.5 million is the final count. Okay, 3.5 million.
Right.
Okay,
missed it by that much. Admonish Gerald.
Yes, do it. Oh. Do it
Hit
now.
Hit it.
Hit
do it. Come on, I'm here. Admonish me.
Admonish.
Okay, so again, that's the claim that it's because of illegal gerrymandering. Okay, here's the truth. Here's the truth. Democrats actually gained significantly from redistricting efforts in 2022, along with gains that they've made historically. It historically has benefited Democrats disproportionately. According to Cook's Political, and by the way, this is Cook Political. It's nonpartisan, which means probably slightly leaning left. Their redistricting scorecard. This was released in April 2022. You have this reference available on the website. Our latest scorecard projects a Democratic net gain of between 0 and 1 seat from redistricting alone. Virtually no partisan shift from the current maps. And according to Vox, Democrats wiped out 12 Republican districts by gerrymandering. This is according to Vox. And they really don't want to make that claim.
Were they gloating?
They're torn between gloating and their false premises of, Republicans only benefit because of gerrymandering. It depends on the day.
And that's 3.5 million per?
No, 3.5 million total is how Republicans, they won the popular vote.
Okay.
And now, according to Vox Democrats, you had according to Vox, you had Democrats wipe out 12 Republican districts through gerrymandering, redistricting.
So at best, it's 0 to 1, right? So virtually unchanged. At best.
At best.
And then at worst, it's 12. So none of that is Republicans taking over because they gerrymandered, which is the whole crux of this email, is that we did this and that's how we won all these seats.
And again, this is all of these arguments that we'll go through. These are designed to get you frustrated, get you confused, get you overwhelmed. So you say, just let them appoint a special counsel. That sounds better than what we have. And boom, now they've got you. And they've got it forever. This is a claim that you'll hear a lot, that Republicans are the only party that gerrymander. Here's the truth, and I want to show you a little bit of a bait and switch, okay? The truth is that Democrats invented gerrymandering.
Wow, usually that doesn't actually apply to being real.
The term gerrymandering came after, it was named after the Jeffersonian Republicans created this sort of like weird serpent-shaped district in Massachusetts. And by the way, I know this is the thing. You're going to hear like, Jeffersonian Republicans.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a direct, right? This was directly linked to the Democratic Party, just to be clear. The Jeffersonian Republicans, they are Democrats. You hear Republicans, so you go, Republicans.
Yeah.
No, the Jeffersonian Republicans are Democrats. And by the way, it exploded as Southern Democrats redrew the lines to benefit white voters. That is true. So when people say gerrymandering sometimes is racist, well, it's true. Back when the Democrats were allowed to be racist more overtly.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I can't believe that their sole argument is, hey, we invented that.
Yes.
You can't
That's
steal
our
thing.
thing. Come on.
No, but now they try and say, it's because of you, even though the left invented it and they're still doing it. So that brings us to truth number 2. Democrats still gerrymander all the time. Yeah. Again, let's go to just this cycle. 18 state legislatures. 18 state legislatures were gerrymandered, redistricted, manipulated by the left. You know what? Let's use Adam Schiff's language. Stolen, okay? That's what he says in his email.
Yeah.
In order to try and push the filibuster, where are we with election deniers? He basically tried to say that this was stolen for a very, very slim victory that doesn't make sense to anyone who can basically add 2 + 2.
Well, no, so that's the illegal gerrymandering, and so the Democrats do the legal gerrymandering.
Oh, is it the same thing, though?
Well, yes.
Okay.
It just depends on who's in your court system.
This is what they do. It's the same thing with campaign finance reform. When they're talking about what they really mean is we just want to be able to take big donations. What they really mean is we should be the only ones who are allowed to redistrict. So again, I just gave you that number, 18. Let me give you some specifics. Let's look at New Mexico. Redistricting in New Mexico turned Republican, by the way. A Republican, Yvette Herrell's, this was, just to give you an idea, some numbers here to get a little nerdy. There was an R plus 14, right? This is how they were sort of analyzing the election, and this is what we expect. To Democrat plus 4. You'll see these numbers on 538.
Yeah, and then she lost her seat by 0.6 points.
The Republican did.
Right, she lost her seat. So it was a heavy Republican district that they moved to Democrat.
They changed it, redistricted, plus 14 to minus 4, effectively, to Democrat, and then lost by 0.6 points. Which also should tell you that they underperformed with the Democrats that they expected to perform with.
They can't even steal it right.
They can't even steal it right. It's like a Hamburglar taking fucking fries.
Yeah, you're like, you can have one.
There's no need to do that.
Yeah, you can just go ahead. You can have it.
In February, by the way, New Mexico State House Speaker Brian Egolf blocked the efforts to appoint an independent redistricting committee.
I wonder
just to be
why.
clear. Yeah, at that point. This is what happens. Let's look at Illinois. Illinois, they redrew lines. Again, Democrats to take 5 Republican seats and just smash them into 3 districts. So what did that mean? That 2 Republican seats were completely eliminated. So now Democrats control 14 out of the 17 seats in Illinois, which, by the way, has still largely been Democrat controlled. Works like a charm in Illinois. More of that.
So they got 82% of the seats out of that, but only 60% of the vote to get it. So
that's right.
Again, we look at vote totals not matching what's actually happening with control.
Right.
But that's what elections are supposed to do. They're supposed to make sure that control is given to the party that has the most votes.
Right.
Weren't you guys really up in arms about this when Hillary Clinton won the popular vote and lost the election?
Where it actually makes sense in a national election.
Yeah.
As opposed to your local representative.
Representative. We need to be able to mess with that, but not. No.
Yeah, exactly. You would think your local representative would be determined by people who vote locally. Silly goose.
Yeah, that's not right.
Silly voter. Illegal Democrat tactics are just for us. I saw, by the way, a Trix commercial where that rabbit actually went to a convenience store and bought Trix, and they mugged him.
Well, then they're not for kids. No. He paid for them.
Yes, exactly.
So.
No, they're just for children. Like, do you understand the voluntary exchange of monies for goods and services? You can't beat up the rabbit and take his shit.
Look, he got tired of getting beaten up for trying to take tricks from kids, so he got a job.
Yes.
Now he's applying himself. You're still going to beat him up? This is why we're failing as a country.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. The kids are selfish. Taking his tricks, they're after his Lucky Charms. They never stop.
Yeah, they do. When did the kid buy cereal?
Yeah.
Bet never.
Yeah, how about you go out and earn your Lucky Charms, you little prick?
Pretty sure your mom bought it.
Yeah. What did you do to deserve it?
Yeah, nothing.
And by the way, don't think it's lost on us that you're picking on the only person who's smaller than you to take his Lucky Charms.
Yeah, you're hurting a rabbit. Good for you.
Well, and again, the midget.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
So here's how 538 described the Illinois gerrymander effect. One of our greatest presidents, Abraham Lincoln, was a Republican from Illinois, but the state's new gerrymandered congressional map seems hell-bent on making Republican congressmen from Illinois an endangered species. That's good writing there.
Someone would say that's by design.
Yeah, someone would say that's by design. 60% of the vote, but 82% of the representation. Hey, by the way, Republicans in Illinois, leave.
Now.
Leave. Here's the thing. A lot of people say, should we stand and fight? Should we stay in these states? No, at this point, these states need to see the rapid population decline because it's not going to be changed by the will of the people. It's not. You can't change it. Your vote doesn't matter in Illinois, just to be clear. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't care how many farms you run, how much corn you grow. You are determined by Chicago and its carp mayor. Let's elect something that was pulled out by Jeremy Wade and River Monsters. We want that person to lead us. Okay.
Oh, the ghoulie?
Yes. Hit the like button, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, again, because the algorithm says that we're dead. Let's look at, this is one that really gets stuck in your craw. Oh, yeah. New York. Mm-hmm. So New York, we can look at their redistricting efforts in New York. Well, some of them were, wasn't it?
Well, so Adam Schiff, I want to go back to him. Illegal gerrymander. What's funny you should use that word because in New York you guys put forward your redistricting map, your gerrymandering, and it was struck down by the New York Supreme Court for quote partisan gerrymandering.
Hey, for reference, what's the most important court in the state of New York?
I think it's the Supreme Court.
The basketball courts? That's where I get my dunks.
That's true.
Well, yes, absolutely. So it was originally proposed by the independent counsel, the thing that we've warned you about in the past here, and approved by the Democratic legislature. So, okay, it's going through this proper process. It should be fair, right? So after the 2020 elections, Dem controlled 19 districts, Republicans 8, right? Okay, there you go. After the illegal map was put in place, but thrown out by the Supreme Court, thank God.
That's really important to note. This is the map they suggested.
Yes.
So they already had a 19-8, right? 19-8.
Enough.
That wasn't enough. Like, we need more than this. Why? Because our local elections really, really matter. Understand that and be familiar with your local officials. Yeah. Be familiar with your local representatives. So 19-8, they couldn't leave well enough alone.
No.
New York Democrats proposed a map that had to be thrown out by what I'm guessing is a very, very liberal New York State Supreme Court. They were proposing a map that would have had them 22-4.
22-4.
But it was thrown out.
Thank God.
And so then we had the 2022 election. And New York, right, what we think of as the most blue state, what was the actual number?
15-11 Democrats.
15-11
Almost
in New York.
In New York.
New York State.
Yeah.
Think about that. Think about that. Why do you think the left wants you in big cities? Why do you think they want you to be dependent on public transportation? Why do you think they want you dependent on universal income? What? Because if you're going to look at the districts, it's really just a handful of districts in big cities. The educated voter who creates cities like New York City, cities like San Francisco, cities like Los Angeles, people like Sam Harris.
Yeah.
The educated voter. You get an entire city of Sam Harrises, and then everywhere else votes Republican. It's not the ultra wealthy. The ultra wealthy, of course, they support leftist after leftist after leftist, except for Elon Musk, who I just love the idea that the richest man in the world is basically a 4chan autist.
Yes.
There's one exception.
Yeah, and they still buy his cars, though. They have no problem with that.
They do, yes.
They're like, I can't stand that guy. Make sure you get me one, though.
Yeah.
They just, looking at their Tesla, which they promoted and they subsidized for years.
Yes.
I wonder how AOC just probably every day gets out into her heated garage, just looks at it and goes,
I'm still going to drive it.
He's smart enough. He should have something where he just starts laughing when you start the car.
yes.
Just appears on the screen.
I forgot to say the magic word.
Just shuts it off.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Starts speeding up into a concrete median.
No.
This is where I'm supposed to go.
Hope you got an airbag.
Yes. Here's also Maryland is another example. Maryland, name that movie line. Gerald got one. They're aggressive from the Democrat. Their partisan gerrymandering attempts. Also struck down, again, by a Maryland judge.
Illegal again?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
They tried to create 7 more Democratic safe districts.
Yeah, and they wanted to get rid of the only Republican safe district and turn it into a likely Democrat district.
Yes, exactly.
Just take your win. Come on, Maryland. Is it
Just like power only wants more power,
Yeah.
progress can only beget more progress to the point where you're progressing into oblivion. That's what the party of the left is. That's how you end up from like gay marriage, yeah, okay, to right. That's how. And I get that it's Brazil, but if you think that it's not going to happen here, watch. I give it 6 months.
It's Brazil. It's had to have already happened here in some form.
In some form or
that
another.
allowed them to go, this is what we should do.
But it starts that way. It starts with, okay, all right, same-sex marriage, okay, sharing property rights. We understand that. Okay, we're on board with it too. Wait, we have that. What do we do? Men can be women, women can be men. Then, okay, you have that. What can we do? Woman of the Year has to be a man. Okay, you have that. What do we do? Children should be able to transition. Okay, we have that. What do we do? We should be able to take children away from their parents if they don't transition. That's what happens. Progress for progress' sake. Same thing with power. It's like, okay, look, you've already got a lead. We need more of a lead.
Yeah.
Okay, look, you already have the ability. You already have all of big tech. What do you need? We need to enshrine it into law that it's basically beholden to our whims, and we can remove whoever we want so that we can keep our political opponents off of the platforms. This is what has to happen.
Yeah.
And by the way, before you say both sides do it, not the side here in this room. I don't give a shit if you have an R or a D next to your name. I want as much decentralized power as possible.
You already have both houses of Congress and the presidency. What do? We got to get rid of the filibuster so we don't have to compromise.
And then add seats to the courts.
Yes, because we don't like their rulings because the court, no.
And then we need to create a law that doesn't allow our political opponents to be on social media.
That's very true as well. And also strips them of their funding, but lets George Soros give us as much money as he wants.
Yeah, well
and that Bitcoin guy, but he's gone now. So
how would you do
FXT?
it? What are you suggesting? An alternative?
No.
Makes sense to anybody else?
Yeah. Let's look at Colorado. Under the newly drawn lines, again, Democrats won a dramatically outsized proportion of the state seats. So what did they win? They won 53% of the total votes.
Okay.
71% of the seats.
Jeez.
53% of the votes, 71% of the seats. Republicans won 47% of the vote, only 29% of the seats. Look, do that math. 53 to 47, that's a swing state.
Yeah.
71% to 29 is not.
That's not even California.
No.
71-29. Not on their best day.
But this is important for you to note because it's all doom and gloom on the right. Adam Schiff sends out this email, and then you have Conservative Inc., who they send out their emails and say, oh, look, no. Here is, it's not doom and gloom as far as where the country is going. It is doom and gloom as far as the leadership of the Republican Party and the conservative movement, by the way, in a lot of facets. Because 53-47, and you all believe that Colorado is an entirely blue state. And electorally, it is. As far as the people, it's not.
Right.
That tells you it's a failure on the part of leadership. Your leaders are supposed to protect your vote. They're supposed to protect your voice, not drown it out with largely Democratic I don't want to say Democratic gerrymandering. There's nothing democratic about it. 53-47 is the vote. 71-29, the seats. All references available at louderwithcrowder.com. There needs to be a change in Republican leadership. There needs to be a change across the board politically. They say the state of our democracy is on the ballot.
Yes.
Okay, so if we're just talking 53-47, okay. No. We want 71% of the seats. Why? Well, because without the 71% as opposed to the actual representation of the vote, democracy will fall in darkness.
Yeah. Aren't you worried, though, that people will actually look at your gerrymandering and say you can't do that? But no. Well, how? We'll just blame the other guys for it.
Well, that would unfortunately, that's predicated on people looking at it.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Not just getting the email and going, well, that sounds terrible. CNN will probably run with the email, by the way. I guarantee you stories will be out about gerrymandering.
The corruption only adds up if you add it up.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.